Om Namah Shivaya, World Raiser, Sabine and Roger here. Let's watch how Shiva overcame lust by Sadhguru. We just watched it. You might hear my voice. I am very calm again. It was such a fantastic video. We wanted to make it public for all of you. It was a wonderful request by our world yogi, Pratik. Thank you.
Thank you.
These two eyes can only perceive that which is physical. The third eye is an inward-focused eye. Your lustfulness, your desiring nature never ever stood outside, it only stood inside. Lust means it creates a sense of incompleteness within you and a longing for something.
Nice, good start.
Yeah.
When we say Shiva, the word Shiva has become synonymous with the third eye.
Wow.
The third eye, what it means is, these two eyes are to look outside. These two eyes are capable of showing you the physicality of the existence. These two eyes can only perceive that which is physical. The third eye is an inward-focused eye. It's not going to open up upon your forehead. The third eye is an inward-looking eye. But you have heard stories, Shiva opened his eyes and he burnt Kama. In India, there is a god of love and lust called Kama. Kama means lust, which you don't like to face it head-on, so you make it love.
I don't get it.
Because you need some aesthetic to it. So, he hides behind a tree and shoots an arrow at Shiva's heart. Tuck, it hits him and Shiva gets a little disturbed. Then he sees it's Kama. That is, it's his own lust coming up.
Oh, okay.
Then he opened up his third eye, a fiery eye, and burnt Kama. He was hiding behind a tree, but he was burnt into ashes. Then Shiva took the ashes of this burnt Kama, smeared himself. That I have put these things to rest for good. That is the general story told to the people. But you tell me, your lust arises within you or behind the tree? Now you may go behind the tree, that's another matter.
Oh God.
So good.
But where does it arise? Within you. Desire is not hanging outside. It is not because a beautiful woman or a beautiful man is sitting there, your desire comes. Because the desire, the karma is within you. So he opened his third eye and burned the karma within himself, not the one who is standing outside. Because he never ever stood outside. Please look at this and see. Your lustfulness, your desiring nature never ever stood outside, it only stood inside. So he opened his third eye, not this way, inward. Then he saw this lustfulness, which essentially means that some aspects are built into you which makes you feel incomplete.
Such a good point.
So you think you will find completion only by going towards something or somebody. Lust is not just about opposite sex. Shopping is lust.
What?
Shopping.
Oh.
Because you have to go towards something, only then life will be complete. Every desire is lust, because without that I cannot exist. I want that, because only when I have that, this will be complete. It may be a thing, it may be a position, it may be power, it may be sexuality, it doesn't matter what it is. Essentially, lust means it creates a sense of incompleteness within you and a longing for something, that it makes you feel If you don't have that, you are not complete. So he decides to burn the karma within himself. He burned the karma and then instead of sweat, ash oozed out of the pores of his body. This is the yogic story. The common story told to the public is he was hiding behind the tree and he burnt him, opened his eyes and burnt him, and then he took that ash and smeared himself. The yogic dimension of the story is karma arose within him, he opened his third eye, burnt him, and then ash slowly oozed out of his body, clearly showing him everything is laid to rest.
Beautiful.
Everything that you know as yourself should die. When I say death, it's not the physical death which is a problem. The question is losing everything that you know as myself right now, your personality, your identity.
Once you learn to be an individual beyond physiological and psychological formats, that means you're for good. This is what living death means. So if you know how to be an individual still, without physiological and psychological format, you are a living death. If you are a living death, you are eternal in your existence. It is time that you become living death so that you live eternally. But there's a certain dimension of consciousness which can go beyond time. Yama came to claim his life. Markandeya, who knew the ways of life, just did one simple act. They say he continued to live as a 15-year-old because he came in touch with that dimension of consciousness which we refer to as Kala Bhairava.
Wow, this was such a good video.
So good. Amazing,
Wow.
right? We were kind of craving some spiritual teachings, right? And this one was right up there. It was really deep.
That was beautiful. So let's just discuss, are we making this members only or not? It was so good.
I think we should make it public,
Public,
right?
okay.
Because the message is
It's
something
so
that
good.
everybody can benefit from,
Yeah,
right?
good. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, some topic, like lust. I mean, are we talking about lust now?
Well, it's lust. Let's talk about, well, he referred to it as, yeah, the topic is lust, but he's talking about, generality of calling it desire, right?
Yeah.
Any outward focused desire of I need this, I need that, for my existence. And some people, it's extreme. If it's sexual desire, yeah, it's lust, but some people do. It's craving, it's a needing, it's a wanting, right? So, parts of the video that I really resonated with were, just the ash and then the smearing it on his body. So that outward depiction, that is the common public, right?
Interesting.
Where he burnt the kama and then smeared the ashes on his body, because we did that with the armband from Namah Shivaya. We did the sadhana and then we burnt the armband at the end and then we had to smear it on our forearms and our legs. So that just kind of reminded me of that. But then he was directing it, to, within. He didn't really burn karma externally. It was internally. And then the ash came up through his pores. And that reminded me of being in sadhana practice, if you're taking even a temporary vow of celibacy and saying that, okay, well, during this time, I'm going to be celibate. And then the desire, can still arise and come up. But then you just feel it and it's like a burning. Even Sabina talked about the experience.
Yeah.
And the first meditation retreat we did together, where we met, it was a 3-month retreat. And you just sit with the desire, right? And you allow it, and it's like fire, and it's like burning inside of you, but eventually it dissipates, right? And I experienced that, the past couple weeks during the sadhana, right? Yeah, leading up to Namah Shivaya, and then so very symbolic, and then putting the ash.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a very good experience if you ever want to try it. Just sitting with the desire and letting it literally burn up. It's beautiful. It's actually exactly what we experienced. I mean, me years ago. Literally the whole body was on fire. The mind was on fire. And yet I took that vow and I didn't, engage in it. I didn't follow my desire. I allowed it to be there completely, being aware of it. And then, of course, it eventually subsides. And then, it just burned itself up in a way. It's an amazing experience. It's not following every desire, but hold it and let it exhaust itself. Oh, so much. The experience is so much more rich than actually satisfying your desire. It's beautiful. Because, we also had another experience after Namah Shivaya. During Namah Shivaya, we only ate 2 meals, and they were usually very good meals. And then after Namah Shivaya, the day, we thought, oh, now we can do whatever we want. Now we can indulge. And we were eating so much, and also like crap. And, we felt so sick. And it's just such an illusion to think that as soon as we follow our desires, we're going to be happy. If I can do whatever I want, I'm going to be happy. If I can eat whatever I want all day long, I'm going to be happy. It's so... it was painful. We paid the price right away. And then, because those 2 weeks, they were beautiful. They were like really beautiful. And my body did not feel sick once because I overate. And so, okay, you keep going. Yeah,
so just touching on that, because it's so, we want that instant gratification, right? Yeah. And so hopefully we learned our lesson this time, because we do have that habitual tendency as a spiritual couple. We'll do retreats and we'll do spiritual practices, and, we meditated in the Himalayas and in Buddhist monasteries, done pilgrimages and all sorts of spiritual stuff. But when we're done that and we're really devoted and and we're good practitioners. We do practice the teachings and do what we set out to do. But as soon as it's over, right, then we just fall right back into the habitual tendency of, following our external desires, right? So, anyways,
it's interesting.
It is what it is. I also love the video where he touched on the third eye and really made it clear that the third eye is an internal thing, right? It's not like something's gonna open up in your forehead.
So funny.
And then you can see that if you really understand what the third eye is representing, it's representing, consciousness and awareness itself, like inward, right? Just being aware of the internal, emotions. And then he touched on the identity. So you're using the third eye to be aware of, these external focused mind identities and desires, and then using that third eye to just be aware of what is arising, within the body. And then, of course, directing the main focus to be the identity, right? So then once you got to transcend the psychological, identity, the mentally constructed ego thinking mind that is externally focused. Because right now in the world, it's, it's rampant. We're all about desire. We're a commercial society where it's all about getting and having more and more and more. And then, of course, the extreme of that turns into greed, right? So lust and then greed, and it's just insatiable, and then you're never satisfied, and that's just a perpetual cycle. So, as spiritual seekers, it's, our duty, if we want to be free from the cycle of, rebirth, and then attain the higher states of consciousness, which all of the gurus and masters and enlightened being throughout time have been teaching us, true reality, is beyond the mentally constructed psychological mind. And then, so that's the living death. And I love how he touched on that.
Wow.
So we got to be living death right now. It's the death, of the desire, of the lust, of the ego, right? That's the higher levels. Like enlightenment happens when the true ego death is when that's gone. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're just one with all of existence, right? So
Really amazing.
Yeah.
Someone quoted him in the comment section, lust is an incompleteness within you and a longing for something.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he nailed it with that. He sure did. Yeah. Lust is an incompleteness within you and a longing for something.
Yes.
So yeah, let us know how you deal with lust in every way, not just sexual, and how this incompleteness like manifests, and if you're able to, you know, dive deeper into that incompleteness and actually be able to see where it is coming from, where are the roots from this incompleteness, yeah, focusing on that and burning that away to become more complete within you without needing anything from outside.
Yeah. So good.
That was fantastic.
Yeah. Looking forward to part number 2 of this series. So Sadhguru, thank you.
We love you
so much. So thank you so much for joining us. If you like this video as much as we did, please hit that like button. It really, really helps the channel and the video. Remember to subscribe. Let us know what you think down in the comments. And remember, raise yourself.
And raise the world. Thank you so much, everyone. And a very special thank you to our world yogi Pratik B. We love you. Thank you.
Peace.